Good morning. This is Sarika S Ganga, working as assistant teacher at Government High School, Benchincholi, Taluk Humnabad, District Bidar. I am also working as state co-secretary for Karnataka Savitribai Phule Women Teachers Association, Dharwad, and district president of Bidar, and also working as chief secretary of Karnataka Government High School Assistant Teachers Union, Humnabad. Today I want to share my few views regarding school-based assessment. School-based assessment is being implemented by MOE at the national level. It is a child-centric approach that involves collecting, examining and using evidences by the school teachers about what students learn and how they learn. The new education policy NEP 2020 emphasizes on transforming assessment for optimizing learning and development of all students with a focus on following points. First of all, I want to tell a first point, that is assessment must be regular, it must be formative and comprehensive based, promote learning and development of all students and focus on assessment for learning and assessment as learning. And it also tests higher order skills like analysis, critical thinking and conceptual clarity, etc. The progress card should be a holistic, it means it should be 360-degree multi-dimensional that reflects in greater detail the progress as well as the uniqueness of each learner in all the domain. It will include self-assessment, peer assessment. Besides, teacher can be done the assessment, that is assessment done by the teacher. NEP 2020 has given a lot of stress on promoting school-based assessment. School-based assessment is aimed at facilitating the attainment of competencies of the students in order to assess efficiency of the teaching learning process within the broader educational philosophy as assessment for learning and assessment as learning. It is a child-centered and experiential based pedagogical that will focus on competency development rather than content memorization. So here the purpose of assessment should be, assessment needs to be holistic and free from biases or distortion. It needs to be multiple evidence based, which requires tapping different sources to collect information using a range of activities that the child participates in both inside and outside the classrooms. On different aspects of learning, that is knowledge, performance, skills, interest, interactivity, attitude and motivation, etc. The main purpose of assessment are assessment for learning, assessment as learning and assessment of learning. If we see the assessment for learning sometimes referred to as formative assessment. Here the formative assessment has been defined as all those activities undertaken by the teachers which provide information to be used as feedback to modify the teaching and learning activities in which they are engaged. It is called as formative assessment. If we focus on assessment as learning provides opportunities and space to students to critically assess, reflect and analyze their work during the teaching learning process and identify their strengths and gaps. They may be encouraged to assess themselves, reflect on peer and group work. So it is metacognitive level assessment. So the third one is assessment of learning. It is used to benchmark students' learning against criteria based on identified curricular and objectives. It is a type of summative assessment. The procedure of assessment is It may include self-assessment or peer assessment. Self-assessment is defined as the involvement of learners in making judgments about their achievements and the outcomes of their learning, and is a valuable approach to supporting student learning. And peer assessment is, it is learners need to be given adequate opportunities to assess the work of peers. Peer assessment requires students to provide either feedback or grade to their peers on a product or a performance based on criteria of excellence for that product or event which students may have been involved in determining. For example, students exchange notes during the class to reflect on perceived gaps and differences in understanding. With the self-assessment and peer assessment, we can also use observation techniques, rubrics and tests. So entirely we can say that this course, school-based assessment, is very useful for secondary school teachers to implement all the tools and techniques in their teaching learning process. It is an useful process. It is a useful course. Thank you.